All right, just weeks after the shooting massacre in El Paso, Texas, gun laws are changing there. Starting Sunday, September 1st, a number of new gun laws go into effect, and it's going to be a lot easier to carry and store guns in Texas. Let's go through a few of the ways. During natural disasters, Texans who are handgun owners will be permitted to carry concealed weapons without a license for up to a week after a state or natural disaster is declared, or if a person is evacuating from or returning to a disaster. In addition, disaster shelters will be allowed to give evacuees firearms. In relation to schools, there will be no limit on the number of armed school teachers and staff designated as school marshals. School districts also can't regulate how a licensed gun holder stores their handgun, firearm, or ammunition in their car in a school parking lot. The law also loosens restrictions around keeping guns at home. Homeowners associations will not be allowed to restrict the possession, transportation, or storage of firearms and ammunition. Landlords will also no longer be able to ban renters from having guns in their units. Protections have also been extended to gun owners who unknowingly enter places that prohibit guns. Those gun owners will no longer be charged with trespassing as long as they immediately leave the area after being asked. And under another new updated law, handguns will be allowed to be carried into places of worship such as churches or synagogues. It's up to the discretion of the place of worship as to whether they will then stop them. Remember, some of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history have happened in Texas. This includes the El Paso massacre that left 22 people dead. That's a mass shooting at Santa Fe High School last year that killed 10 people, and the Sutherland Springs Baptist Church shooting where 26 people were killed in 2017. In that year, 2017, over 3,500 people in Texas were killed by firearms, according to the latest data from the CDC. Joining me now is David Chipman, Senior Policy Advisor at Giffords Courage to Fight Gun Violence, and former ATF agent. Good to see you again, David. Talk to me about these changes. It does seem that Texas doesn't have a whole lot of restrictions on using, storing, buying, and carrying guns in the first place, and it feels like this is almost like a cleanup job to say those few that we have we're going to start to get rid of.
Yeah, clearly the governor sees that arming more people in more places is good public policy. I think it's something good for gun sellers. I think it's absolutely horrible for public safety.
Who are the people who push for these types of laws? In other words, we're not even marginally going into a place that might limit the number of people and the number of places in which you can have a gun. And I fully understand that Greg Abbott's not looking for that as a solution. But are there organizations that lobby for this kind of things, or is this just a straight up Second Amendment NRA type of thing?
Yeah, so I think their NRA is a group that would lobby for this, and other state-based organizations. I think the real problem here is often gun violence prevention organizations are forced to explain how their policies would have prevented the more recent attack. I don't see how these policies would have prevented the attack in El Paso. What they do is they sell guns, and they support this myth that a good guy with a gun is the only thing necessary to prevent gun violence, and I know that's just not true.
All right, just last week, Giffords put out a report titled Gun Laws and Violence in the State of Texas with some policy recommendations, including allowing local governments to enact gun laws that fit the needs of their communities. That's actually something they're not allowed to do in Texas.
Right. It's very interesting that, local governments, City of Austin can't, for instance, regulate how you store a gun in your car. Most local chiefs now are faced with the fact that as more gun owners carry guns, they're storing them irresponsibly in cars, getting stolen, and then used against the people who were carrying them in the first place. If the governor was very serious about preventing gun violence, he would start by making sure that you could not buy guns on the internet without a background check and without paperwork. Right now, there are 3,000 guns for sale in Texas that criminals can buy and use against the people who are arming themselves to fight criminals.
Anything in the changes that have occurred in Texas that are benign or that don't really matter versus those that really, I mean, you already give Texas, Giffords gives Texas an F on your gun law scorecard. Does this make it worse? I mean, can you get worse than an F?
Yeah, I'm glad you can't get worse than an F. But I think the real issue here is there are things that can be done. There are other states that don't have the same record of gun violence. And Texas has a legacy of this. And this good guy with a gun myth, Texans know is wrong. The cops being shot in Dallas know that it's too late to try to respond to an assassin trying to kill them. They needed to use a robot with a bomb to end that incident. And Philly police, were held at bay for an entire night. So until the Texas legislature starts to pass reasonable gun laws that prevent criminals from getting guns in the first place, there are plenty of Texans who have always had guns ready to use them. That is not working.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.